Hello, and welcome to Audio Sanctum. I am Trinity, and in this video, I am asking German composer Simon Daum about his debut album, Inner Knowing. For those who aren't familiar with Simon's work, he is an incredibly gifted composer and musician with a unique ability to convey complex emotions through his compositions. With his upcoming album, Inner Knowing, Simon takes listeners on a journey of self-discovery, exploring the depths of the human experience through his music. As music lovers ourselves, we always find it fascinating to hear the stories behind the creation of an album. So today we're going to delve into Simon's creative process and learn more about the inspiration behind Inner Knowing. Simon, tell us about your earliest musical inclinations.
What I can remember is that one of the first things I did as soon as I could walk was to run to the piano and play something, just something that came to my mind. So I was probably around age 3 years old. And I remember that when I was around 11 years old, I was the first time in love, kind of, and it was the first time I started to write some music for the girl at school. And it's also the age where I started to desire to become a full-time composer.
When was your first release?
Well, I recorded many tapes as a teenager, also gave some concerts as a teenager, but my first actual CD was when I was around 24, 25 years old, and I produced the album called New Hope, and it was produced just with a keyboard, the first two albums actually. And after it, I released almost about 20 additional music albums until today.
Unfortunately, you have been struggling for years with intense health issues, and you even had to write music on your balcony in winter. What is the story behind that, and what is your situation now?
In 2012, I was exposed to a pretty big amount of heavy metals, which basically caused me to be bedbound for about 2 years. It was a very intense time where my wife and I, where we lost pretty much everything, our home, a lot of money, I lost my job, and we just haven't been able to find any help. And after 2 years, we found out it was a toxification, and it took several years more to get back to life. I found the work, we started a family, and after 7 years, we even found a home I could handle. It was still so that I worked a lot from the balcony. I produced a lot of my music albums from the balcony, even in the winter, because I couldn't stay inside all the time. But things improved quite a bit. And towards the end of this good phase, I could even work inside, and it was such a great blessing. My story right now is quite difficult because in 2022, I received a dental treatment and I had several infections, and we don't know what happened, but for some reason, my health has turned really bad. So bad that right now I have to sleep in the tent outside in the garden. It's so intense that I'm about to lose everything in my life because I cannot stay inside. I have severe pains in my head, in my eyes, in my spine, in my nervous system. Yeah, it's a difficult time, to be honest, because after several years, in 2012, everything was so hard. It was such a blessing to get back to life, and to see now that all the things that have helped me to get out of that situation back then do not help right now. It's difficult, also because I now have 2 kids, a wonderful wife, a wonderful home, and it's, to not know where this journey is going is difficult. But my hope is that doors will open and that I will be allowed to write some more music, because this really is something very important to me, to express myself through music and to find comfort and strength by writing music. So this is my great hope, despite I have now been in pain since 4 months, so intense that sometimes I wished, there would just be a miracle to happen to stop this pain. And of course, when you have family and when you have a job and you can't work anymore, everything is in danger. And it all comes back to me to trust in the inner knowing as good as I can that right things will happen at the right time. And this is my great hope for right now.
Is there any inspiration that brought you into your unique way of making music?
When I look back on my life, I would say it is kind of an extraordinary life with a lot of intense pains and losses and mysterious illnesses and situations. But on the other hand, I experienced how the right kind of music at the right time has great power, and how much power music has on the spirit and on the mind. So I promised myself, when I experienced what music can do in difficult life situations, that this is what I want to do for other people as good as I can. To write music that somehow can give other people comfort. And I think one of the greatest lessons to me is how powerful simplicity can be. Quiet music, simple music that leaves enough room for contemplation and for discovering the inner knowing can be so powerful and can really help to go through the darkest times in life. And so this is the greatest compliment to me if people tell me that this is something my music could do for them or can do for them.
The name of your first single, which was just released last week, is entitled Encountering the True Light. What is the light that you speak of with the title Encountering the True Light?
That's a really good question. The world is filled with noise and distraction. And sometimes things are packed very beautifully. Things look beautiful, things look pure, and it's just the surface. And when you look deeper, you see it's not the real deal. And my personal belief is that what we experience in this world sometimes also is something we may encounter on the other side. And the light I have been writing about is the kind of light that is always gentle, kind, and mindful and respectful, and that has a very loving way and a very authentic way to teach by example and to be gentle. I think that the right word is gentle. Gentle and mindful and kind is what describes this kind of light, and not just from the first impression, but in every situation. Sometimes things appear to be something what they are not, and they look beautiful, but they are not. And so I believe that the true light is something that is very powerful, because it's very authentic and it's very, very filled with unconditional love.
What experiences have you had personally with encountering the true light?
Well, I have always been a person that was deeply spiritually interested to learn things and to find out things. And I would say that oftentimes when I didn't know where to go, what to believe, I had this inner knowing that this true light remains always gentle and kind and mindful. And this gave me peace, because to me this has always been a very powerful experience, to see that in the end we may not be able to resist unconditional love and an unconditional example of what truth should be like. Light and truth to me belong together. And so truth is something I feel should always motivate us for the right reasons to do the right things. So whenever things try to force or to push or to manipulate or to work with fear or with bad conscience, to me, this has nothing to do with the true light. True light to me is much more powerful because it helps us to do what is right for the right reasons. It wants us to do the things for the right reasons. This to me is a very powerful experience. It's like when listening to music that really touches me. And you just have this feeling while listening to this music of this power and this beauty, and it makes you desire to be one with the music. And just it's the same I feel about this kind of light. It just has this gentle way of teaching by example, and in the end we don't want to resist because it convinces us in this natural, kind way, so to say.
What have you learned from that experience in your life?
I would say I have learned how important it is to always really look deep within us and to listen to this gentle voice. The world is filled with noise and with distraction, and we have a lot of ideas and theologies and opinions, and sometimes it can be overwhelming and confusing. But in the end, this kind of light, this kind of knowledge, this kind of truth is something I feel most of us have within us. And we just need to remember it and rediscover it and feel and experience its beauty. And so I have learned how important it is that we humbly look inside. Not that we are greater than others or better than others, but that every one of us has the potential to remember who we truly are, and that this can help us to go our path in different ways and with more power and with more positivity.
Is such an encounter possible for everyone?
Definitely. I believe personally that all of us are godly beings, and that maybe part of the purpose of this life for us is to merely to remember who we truly are, what our true nature is. And once we find out, I believe we understand what and who God is, and we understand who our neighbor is, and we understand much more about ourselves and about our purpose of life.
How can you tell the difference between the false light and the true light?
From my experience, I would say that the true light remains always gentle, kind and mindful, respectful, and never tries to force or to push anything upon us. The only way it works, after my experience, is by simply being the light that it is. It is the light that it is, and once we taste from it, we want to be one with it, because it needs nothing more, and I mean, if you have people that do good things because they fear that God will punish them, what is it worth? If there are people that love God because they fear if they don't, they will go to hell, what kind of a love is this? But on the other hand, when you have, for example, a parent that gives all his or her love to the child and lives all the example of what truth can make out of a life, then I believe it's the greatest power for children that they want to give the same back, they want to experience it, they want to be one with it, and they also want to give this light and example back to their parents. So it's also what my experience is with my kids. And I believe that this kind of true light is very powerful. It's not that it doesn't care about what we do, but it knows that it's the most powerful way when we taste of it and when we see the example of it. So it's just my experience, and it's just the power of simplicity, the power of gentleness and of kindness in all situations. So whenever I meet people that are spiritual people and they become very fast annoyed or angry or anything that way, then to me I wonder what worth has that spirituality. I believe whatever moves us to be more gentle, kind and loving towards others is a good thing, and especially if you want to do it for the right reasons. That's at least how I would discern it.
Thank you, Simon, for your hard work on this album, despite the many challenges you've faced, and also for taking the time to record this interview during your current health battle. We look forward to hopefully working with you in the future and wish you many blessings of health and success. If you have anything else to say, please go ahead and have the final words.
I really want to thank Audi Sanctum, Patrick and Trinity, that I've been allowed to be part of this wonderful project. Audi Sanctum really stands for something that is so important to me, and that is to unite people from all backgrounds, from all religions, from different cultures. I really do believe that to be one is a great blessing, and to be one, meaning in rejoicing, in welcoming and embracing diversity and differences, to respect each other. And music to me has always been the best way to unite people. People in all the world dance to the same music. They come to tears oftentimes from the same music. And so it doesn't need a language, it doesn't need all these differences, it doesn't need all this talking about things. When you listen to music, people just feel something. And this is my great hope, that my music will unite people in this world, that it will give hope to people and peace to people, as it has done often for me. I have listened to some great music that has given me a lot of hope and strength in difficult situations. And my greatest hope is that we will meet again, that I will be allowed to write more music in the future, that some doors will open for me and my family, that we can see some miracles happen, because I feel there's still much to tell for me from my music. And most of all, I wish all of you that you enjoy the music, that you enjoy what Audio Sanctum will do and will bring to the world. And I'm just very grateful that I've been allowed to be part of this. Hope we meet again sometime soon.